Hour, Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome to a brand new year on January 3rd. And of course, the sacred, anointed time we come together.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have going on today? Well, a lot of spending in the future is going to be decided today. I think it was either 6 or 7 votes. McCarthy did not become the House Speaker. He's thought to be a little bit more lenient on more spending, and of course that means probably higher inflation. Unclear who's going to win behind him. There's a couple of people that look like they would both be a little bit tougher on spending. And of course, the House, by the Constitution, is where all spending bills must start. So the Speaker of the House has a lot of power on whatever gets to the floor of the House before it can ever get to the Senate. So do I think that if they spent nothing, it would change their trajectory of gold? Probably not, but certainly maybe the time. I'm thinking that any kind of restraint would mean that gold may just go up half as fast, and or other inflation issues certainly would make it a lot easier to get over for Chairman Powell to get through interest rates. But, there's not a whole lot of upside for folks that don't spend money, because that's how they get money in Congress. But we got a few people making a valiant last man standing event on this. But my guess is it's supposed to be, or at least what I heard, supposed to be over today. Many people are talking about Tesla. I remember talking about this 5 years ago and telling everybody it was a $40 or $60 stock then. That was pre-split. So what does that make it? 20 or 30 bucks probably. Everybody placed this as a company that was going to grow and double for about 15 years straight. And there's no company ever that's done that, including Apple, including the rest of them. There isn't, you just don't grow to the sky other than Jack and the Beanstalk. So a little bit of reality. The downside for people that are short Tesla may be that everybody and their dog is short Tesla. The numbers weren't that far off. I think a lot of people are piling on one last time. You may get a big sign out here and a short squeeze in the not too distant future. Supreme Court, of course, this is kind of a bigger thing. Supreme Court's going to hear a lot of cases. Probably the biggest are going to be in the social networks and Section 230 this year. Not about being right or wrong. It's going to be whether stuff is legal or illegal. A few more cases that they picked up just today. So you should be wary of the legal implications of many of the stocks this year. The old saying is you only see who's swimming without a bathing suit when the tide goes out. And that could be one of these years, depending on how they actually set up some of these decisions. The Supreme Court is not in the habit of taking cases and then not doing much. They can leave that to a lower court. So there's almost always some kind of math that says, at least to some extent, they're going to change something, and they have 5 votes to do so. Although I guess my guess is that most of the decisions are going to be 6-3 or 7-2 for the rest of the year. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. So we said volume is still fairly lax today, so I'm not going to put a great deal into this. I do know just about every single person that I've talked to is looking for lower, and you might get that in the rest of the year. But generally, when everybody is looking down, that's when the market decides to throw a curveball. As I said, this kind of really looks like a lot of the energy in the last part of December was the last of those folks that were tax selling. But we shall see. Anyway, that's about it. Getting started here on a brand new year after being gone for a few weeks on a semi-vacation. If I yell or scream, or you think I'm being stabbed, I fell and broke a rib, and as long as I remain fairly motionless, I'm fine. But if you think that a robber's come in and decided to knife me, that's probably just because I turned the wrong way. 877-927-6648. Email me. That's the eel mail, not email. Eel mail at path@tfnn.com. And of course, you can always post a message in the den. Yes, laughing and sneezing are out. Anyway, we're going to do some other stuff. But to start off, I wanted to see, because we really have kind of slowed down to a crawl, I wanted to see where are we at here. Okay. Do I have something else? Why does it say I've got something here? I do not know. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring up the charts and start going through those and getting back up to speed. I guess we can take a look at Tesla first. So you're testing the previous low. That had almost 220 million shares. You got about 164 million shares so far. See what the, so that's 106.46. So you'd need a close above 108.24 to make a signal. You may not get that today, but this may be the end of the bad news for a little while on Tesla. As I said, the biggest problem is when you've got somebody shorting $100 stock, 35% of it or 40% a day is being shorted. That's always a sign that you're probably going to get a squeeze fairly soon. Let's look at some others out here. We got a minute. Let's look at Apache. Big reversal pretty much on the price of crude going lower today. You're going back into this candle. You quite haven't gotten there yet. That's the December 9th candle. The bottom of that day was 41.63 with 6.8 million shares. So far, you only have about 3.8 million shares. I don't think you're going to be able to get to that kind of volume. Again, you haven't pierced, or as Wyckoff students would say, proved the point of going below the 41.76 level. But right now it doesn't look like you have that kind of energy. Again, volume probably not going to pick up till really for a lot till Thursday. We'll be back in a minute.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kakestat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kakestat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
As we come back, it's time for history. Not quite repeating, but rhymes.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day, Bitcoin creator with a phony name of Satoshi Nakamoto mines the first 50 Bitcoins, now known as the Genesis block, 6 days before the initial release of the Bitcoin software and launch of the cryptocurrency network. Bitcoin has become the de facto digital currency, popular for its decentralized approach, because no single entity can control, manipulate, deactivate the currency, and transactions can be highly private yet remain secure. And of course, we know that one, they can still be stolen, and two, the government's figured at least some ways around it and has tracked and imprisoned hundreds of folks using the so-called private system of decentralized currency. Of course, they're not going to let you get away with that. And of course, we see people like FCX come along. I've had a lot of people ask me or send email to me over the last week about what I think is going to go on with that. Well, it certainly looks like he was highly involved in laundering money, probably for some politicians, and recirculate that cash back to them. And it was probably for political cover. People didn't want to ask too many questions. He's, of course, pleading not guilty. We will see what kind of sweetheart deal he gets to try to get this off the front page. But I think the longer he hangs on, the more that people in power would wish he would just go away. But on this day in 2009, the Bitcoin, as I call it, C-O-N, not C-O-I-N, started. It has a lot of great things about it. The one thing it doesn't have that I want in a currency is thermonuclear weapons. That's kind of the best backstop for cash, even if they inflate the currency. It's at least worth something, probably not worth nothing. Now, I had a lot of people ask me what's going on with Tesla besides the usual. We talked about this maybe a year ago on, let's see, where is it in here? I think it's Ion, isn't it? Is that the name of it? Yeah. Is that not it? Okay. I think this may be the other one. I'm trying to remember which one. No, not Ion Q. I'm talking about the ETF for lithium. Yeah, that is not it. Let's go back one and see. I'm trying to remember the name of it now. Okay, got a few up here. Anyway, I'm trying to remember what it was. SQM has always been kind of the big one. It's not an ETF. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, we're now hitting a high, all-time high in lithium pricing. But at the same time, if you look at SQM, the price is not backing up that move. Very interesting to see. We did some back of the napkin math maybe 3 years ago on the show, and said that it will, once you get to probably 4 million cars a year, there probably isn't enough lithium in the world to continue using lithium-ion batteries. We're starting to see that, but if you were looking at SQM, certainly you do have a fairly good test of the low today. You'd need to close above 77.75. That's why I'm thinking that maybe there's a low coming in for Tesla a little bit too. But we're at 2.2 million shares today, and is what do we have here? 77.06. So you'd still need a couple of bucks higher to close back into the trading range today. LIT, L-I-T. I don't know why I couldn't think about that. Take a quick look at that one. Come on. There we go. Kind of the same thing, but it hasn't, that's why I wanted to look at this. It hasn't really tested its lows yet. That's back down around 54.22, 54.69 were the last couple lows. You did have one, if you want to look at those as piercing patterns, because they both, that March 8th low of 2021 and the March 25th low, came in at significantly lower volumes. So those were the false breakdowns of the February 23rd, 2021 level in the LIT lithium. And you're there now at about, about a third of the volume a few days ago. Today you got just under 1 million shares. It's hard to think that lithium is going lower, but you may have actually hit it. We do have a lot of new laws that went into effect on January 1st, too, on EVs. And some of them are absolutely insane. For a Jeep with kind of a standby, I think it's got a 30 or 40 mile range. It's kind of more like a Prius than anything else. That EV, half gas, actually, I guess it'd be 95% gas, and short trips under 40 miles for electric will get a $7,500 tax credit for being an EV, but a car weighing 250 pounds less than that, all battery, doesn't get the same tax credit. There are some very bizarre spin-off issues in the legislation for how the EV tax credits come and fall out. And if you were looking for a car, I'd probably look around, because it is one of those things where you could just throw some lead bullion in the trunk of a Tesla and get it to qualify for an extra $7,500 off. I don't know what lead costs per pound, but 250 pounds, probably not much lead. You could probably buy that much lead for $500 and still get $7,000 off. But pretty some bizarre stuff happening in that EV space. Generally, when you get that kind of bizarre law, it's targeting somebody for some reason, like General Motors or Ford or Dodge or somebody here that's a U.S. builder on that. But anyway, we're at those lows. We don't have a lot of volume. Let's say we end up with 1.5 million shares today. That still doesn't break really the first low on that. Doesn't mean that you're in the clear yet, but I'd watch the next couple of days. If this thing gets back in the trading range, you may have a low in that. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Chart. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're back. So we've got a few more things going on here yet today, but watch for the political news coming out. Like I said, I think that's probably kind of a bigger thing out there in the future spending for Congress for at least this year. because Chairman Powell will be looking toward that, how much he actually needs to raise interest rates. Had a question about the TLT. You did bounce up here today. I don't know if this is anything other than filling this gap down that had a lot more juice. You had 26.5 million shares on the way down. Your gap up here today so far, about 17.7 million shares. So it's going to be a little bit more of a lighter volume bounce. I suspect we are going to be headed back down to this gap between mid 94s to 96 that goes back to the 10th of November. And what else do we have going on here? I had a good question about how to fund buying come in. Generally, this is about when you first start seeing fund buying for January. They don't get in a big hurry. Of course, you get fund buying as the last two trading days of the month and the first three. So, yeah, but everybody's probably still a little hungover from their Hamptons parties. A few other things that are going on. So I think we'll probably see a little bit more of it tomorrow. I think they're more than willing to let the short sellers pile on today. But as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla makes a low maybe for at least the next week, and maybe gets some kind of short squeeze on that. Same thing with Apple. It could maybe find some kind of low here in the 124s. But there were a lot of people that did sell into the end of last month, and that means that cash is coming out unless someone puts it back in. So, generally, I'm going to say this looks like more of a wash for fund buying than it looks like a normal month. And that is just the retail trader that sold into it. 877-927-6648. And see what else we have here going on. Someone brought up MU. I haven't looked at that today, so let's take a quick look at that. And you still have the high volume low down at the previous low. So probably a 75% chance that does get tested. That's 48.24, which is the September 23rd low. Had 24.5 million shares on December 22nd. December 22nd. You had 41 million shares into that. You just kind of slightly come up, but it looks like that could get one more retest here these days. What else do we have? Oh, we were going through some of the stocks, the biggest movers on Wall Street. Constellation Energy did come back and retest its gap higher. That gap higher goes back to the 17th of October. That had about 1.7 million shares on the way up. You've got 2.4 million shares on the way down already today, which is about, it's going to come right in to what that candle was on the 13th of October, too. So you may just get the washout in that today. CTRA, Coterra Energy, another one going back through its previous low. This one looks a lot better. You had a July 6th low at $23.32. That was on July 6th of last year. 13.6 million shares. You're only coming into that with a little less than 5 million shares so far today. Now, you'd still have to close above to get a signal. 23.32 is the close you need above it. But light volume, going to be kind of tough to come back through. But I'm looking for support maybe in the next couple of days in some of these energy stocks. Devon Energy, same kind of thing. Nice big candle on the way down. It's got a little bit farther to go, though. DXC Technology, nice candle on the way up on a bad, or at least on a down day, as we're playing around 3,800 on the S&P cash. Volume's okay, though. I don't know if there's much else to say there. Enphase, of course, one of the biggest winners of last year. And, of course, probably on the back of Tesla and the rest of the EVs. You've got a little bit of flocking, F-L-O-C-K, he said. Flocking with it and being attached to the direction of Tesla a great deal. They make power inverters for EVs. You're down on fairly light volume today. You're back into these candles that had a fairly large gap higher. That was on July 27th of last year. That came up on, let's just call it 12 million shares. Kind of down there with about 2 million shares now. So you're probably fairly close to some level of support in this. That'd be about 235. But you are kind of in that candle with a whole lot less volume right now. Etsy, look at this one. Of course, once the darling of the lockdown, down today, volume's okay, not huge. You have a lot of support right around this 112 area, and got into it today with 2 million shares. And you had a lot of volume on the way back up. Just probably going back to rather support areas. 877-927-6648. Okay. Okay. So you're down today on Hess, the rest of the energy, but certainly very light volume. 128.65 was the December 9th low. That had 2 million shares. You got 750,000 shares right now. So what is that? Just a couple more bucks down to test that December 9th low. You might want to take a look at that. Metamucil has been slowly filling the gap down that goes back to the 27th of October. That gap down came with a 232 million shares. You just kind of got into that today. You've tried, this is actually the third time of trying to finish that gap. The first time you tested it was on the 2nd of December. You really kind of got into it on the 14th of December. Again, now we're back into it. But not a lot of push out here. MHK, which is Mohawk, right? I think so. Big in the housing sector, of course, with carpet. Little gap up here today. I don't know if you can make a great deal above it or about it. MOH, which is Molina Healthcare. It's coming back down to the previous low. As we talked about this, I haven't talked to my nephew in the healthcare sector yet. We talked about a lot of these companies making a lot of money during lockdowns and COVID because people were putting off procedures. Well, there's a lot of evidence that those people are not putting them off any longer. We'll be back in a minute.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
As we come back to look at a few more, Molina Healthcare, as we said, kind of interesting to see that a lot of the procedures that were put off that cost, of course, healthcare insurers a great deal of money. Also down on heavy volume. You got to think that even though they put off those procedures, just probably going to be more expensive procedures to follow. We talked, I think, back in late September, early October, about boat and plane and anything that burns or costs cash, sales and actually prices starting to fall. Boats really starting to fall in price in Florida now because of insurance reasons. Where you can't get new insurance on anything, mostly for the amount of boats that were hit down there around Naples. And you never know how a few of these things get put together to start kind of a run for people that may be skiing past the tip of their skis financially to get something started. Just some thoughts, random. Some not so random. 877-927-6648. Did I answer all those? Okay. SCCO. Has this one got a third gap in it? I'd like to see one with, the problem is you've got three gaps in Southern Copper. But generally, if these things are going to give it up instantly, they do. The problem is that these are gaps, but it's really you want to have three that are more like the first one here, going back to the 4th of November. You want them really extraordinary, and why these are some gaps, and they're nice. They're not what I would call extraordinary gaps of extraordinary size and magnitude. You'd really like to see in a three-gap play, you get that first one, you want to get one that's maybe the same or even more, and then the third one, you see it give it up almost instantly. If it hasn't given it up by now, then that's not the third gap play. Okay, we'll go back and take a look at MRO. Marathon Oil, is most of these having the big moves today are at. You're back to the gap on MRO of October 4th. That had 14.1 million shares that day. You only have about 6.3. So don't know if this is what you're looking for today, but probably in the next couple of days, I'm looking for energy stocks to look a little bit better. Newmont Mining has finally made it back to its huge down day, bad hair day. That goes back to the 25th of July. It came down on 36.7 million shares. You fill that today on 4.7 million shares, probably end up with 5.2. Probably the weak sister in the gold market. PayPal, we look at this, kind of trying to make some kind of bottom. I don't think it's done so quite yet. You've got a couple of nice pullbacks with lighter volume and a gap today. But, I don't know. There's no real definitive signal yet. Another one in the energy sector as a big mover today is Schlumberger. Down on very light volume, though. Let's see what we look at here. 4.6 million shares. The last low had 16 million shares, and the gap up move had 35 million shares. You're probably looking at around some kind of support on that at the moment. X-ray, when we look at that, is certainly, what are we looking at here? The January 3rd, okay. Dental supply. Looks like it just went up there, tagged it, and reversed out here today. So you had a big move earlier, but it looked like it didn't hold it. Okay, we got about 3 minutes left in this segment. Let's tear through the usual suspects that get talked about a great deal. Microsoft did pop a little higher, not doing much. Volumes about what you would think. Netflix been trying to work its way higher. Tune-out times, that's when people quit watching the series that these streaming network services have been rather high. And I don't know, kind of looks to me like you're probably running into some resistance in that. A survey over Christmas found Disney had dropped about 20% in its on the latest survey of people looking at it as a positive or negative view of the company. The good part is that you may have made some kind of low and you're back in the trading range. November 9th, you had 86.28 with 62 million shares. You went below on 15.5 million shares. The only thing you don't have today is volume. I'd give it 3 days. I would have liked to seen the energy off this November 21st high of $100.89 come back with lighter volume, especially through Christmas. But tune-out times for Walt Disney are at extremes on some of the stuff that they've come up with. And man, if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores on a lot of stuff, not just Walt Disney but others on these streaming services, they are putting out a lot of horrible content. And I don't know, especially if we have more of a recession, how much that's going to directly affect them. $15, $18 a month is not that much, but you may cut down to one streaming service instead of so many. So you've got a good look at the lows. You're back into the trading range. The only thing that you really want to see is a pullback with lighter volume, which you haven't gotten just yet. Apple was, as we said, was down $5. When we look at this now, it's trying to break the previous low. It has gone below it. You had a couple before, the one at 128.40 49, that's the June 16th low, had 108 million shares. You're only into that on 77 million shares so far today. So as I said, I wouldn't write too much into today's action, the first day back in the year. Look for maybe a little bit of fun buying to sneak in before the close. But the next 2 days probably going to tell us a lot more about what the net effect of fun buying is. Probably not massively positive, but probably a little.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And as we're out here, we've had a little bit of a bounce off that 3,800 level. We're down 24 points on the S&P cash. As I said, volume fairly light so far today. My guess is that we're going to really have a idea of direction when we start pushing 12 billion shares on the CBOE consolidated tape. We're only doing about 7.2 billion shares today. So a fairly light day. Again, fun buying. You've got a little bit of other stuff going on. If it looks like inflation's coming down, you might see a little bit of a move back in bonds and equities. But I don't know if it's going to be that much, but probably at least a nod of the hat to those. You know, a lot of bad news on the first day, but not a lot of volume. TLT's up a little bit. I think we're probably really going to have to wait till Friday before we have a really good clue going forward. I, of course, am waiting for the first kind of blush for options. They really, at the end of the year, don't put a lot of them on till this first week of the year. So I'll get a much better view of options by Friday, although I'll probably start getting some indication after the close tonight, at least what are on there now, where they think the market's headed. But again, everybody is depressed, which makes me kind of think that maybe January will throw them a little bit of a curveball with higher prices. And, you know, I'm not thinking the sky's the limit, but could we go back up and test S&P, 4,000, 4,100 or something? And we could do that. Just far too many people short right now for my my well-being of being short myself. Anyway, sell when you can, not when you have to. And I think this is the best show of the year so far.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible.